Adequate notice of the August 14th, 2025 regular meeting of the Township Committee has been provided in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act by posting written notice and agenda of the meeting on a bulletin board, the Municipal Building, 1000 Route 10, Township of Hanover, by hand delivering, mailing, faxing such notice to the following newspapers: Morris County Daily Record, the Star Ledger, Hanover Eagle, and by filing the same with the Township Clerk.
Roll call, Committeeman Cahill.
Here.
Committeeman Faramasca.
Here.
Committeeman Francioli.
Here.
Committeeman Mahalko.
Here.
Mayor Gallagher.
Here.
5 members in attendance.
If you would, please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance, and please remain standing for our prayer led by Deputy Mayor Mike Mahalko. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Almighty God, please watch over and guide this governing body with an abundance of wisdom and understanding to help make the best decisions for our residents. Please bless our first responders and township volunteers who help keep us all safe. Also bless our township employees and residents. Lastly, please let us pray for the men and women of the U.S. Armed Forces who stand vigil over us always. Amen.
Thank you, Mike.
Good evening, everyone. Tonight we have a presentation. It's going to be a 15-minute presentation regarding the property known as 41 Ridgedale Avenue. I'd like to note for the record that no action will be taken by the governing body. This is only a presentation this evening. If you want to.
Okay, after the presentation, we're going to open up to the public. But because we have so many people here, and we want to hear from everybody from the public, because we are in our stage of doing our due diligence. And I have personally spoken to many of our residents in Hanover Township, and what we'd like to do is have each person take 1 minute to ask a question or to voice a concern. And from there, we're going to have Krista, our clerk, write down the question or the concern, and that will go in our record and be part of our due diligence to move forward to help create the best product that we actually can in that area of Hanover Township. I will go over a short guideline before we go to the public, but if you would like to take the floor for 15 minutes, Mr. Forgione, and make your presentation, that'd be great. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and members of the Township Committee. Thank you very much for affording us the opportunity to make a presentation tonight. I understand we have 15 minutes, so I'm just going to get through it. Billy Hamilton's going to bring you through the details of our presentation. I'm just going to give you a general background. The property, as we all know, was approved for a 160-unit assisted living project, which generated 19 affordable housing units. It was at a density of 36 units per acres, and due to market conditions and generally what's happening in the industry alone, especially with the assisted living, there is no more market for the assisted living. As a matter of fact, our joint venture partner had filed bankruptcy on the property. So here we are. Our project that we're presenting to you this evening, generally the feedback that I've gotten for the last few months that I've been trying to get a public hearing, and some of the people that I've spoken with in the town, is that height, mass of the building, traffic, use, number of units, and again, massing of the building and buffers. So Billy Hamilton will bring you through our presentation, but what we're here tonight is to present the 125-unit plan, to which 20% or 25 of the 125 units will go to your fourth round obligation in affordable housing. We are proposing that the 25 units all be one-bedroom, age-restricted senior units. The fourth round allows the municipality to construct 30% of their obligation for senior affordable housing. That's changed under the third round. The third round was 20%.
Joe, can I interrupt you for 1 second? I'm sorry. Fred has copies, and if anybody would like to look at this while Joe is speaking, and if you want to take a good look and pass them around, it might be helpful. Okay, sorry, Joe.
That's okay.
They didn't give it to me earlier.
Joe? Okay, so of the 125 units, 25 or 20% were age-restricted senior affordable units. As I mentioned earlier, you're allowed to increase it to 30% of your obligation, up from 20% under the third round. The fourth round requires 20% of the total number of units to be affordable. Where the project stands today, Mayor, you and I spoke a number of times, and I hope you've driven by the site and you see that all the buildings have been demolished. We pulled a demolition permit, completed the demolition of the units. Now there's cleanup of the site. There's concrete that we're crushing. We don't want to crush the concrete in warm weather. We were going to wait till the weather changes so that we control the dust better, that kind of thing. So that's why you'll see stockpiles of concrete. So we've demolished the building, we've raised the building. We all know that there was a lot of issues there, and so I think that we've addressed them by pulling a demolition permit. I thank the committee helping expedite that permit. With regards to our proposal, it obviously, or not so obvious, we are requesting that the property be designated an area in need of redevelopment. I'm happy to report that well, you know better than I, that the planning board has affirmed the blight study. The Township Committee has adopted the blight study. So the next step would be developing a plan, and that's what we're here to make a presentation, get feedback, and work with the committee. No different than we've had on our other projects in the past in Hanover. It's actually to come up with a plan that hopefully satisfies the committee, the residents, and Hanover alike. So with that being said, just a couple things that's important to note. We all know it's an assemblage of 3 lots. Currently, the property taxes that are being generated by the property are $54,000. Our proposal would generate $470,000 in taxes, up almost 9 times more than currently is generated. With the affordable units being senior, that does not require us to build 1, 2, and 3-bedroom units as you would for a family. So they would all be 1 bedroom, and no children, obviously under the age of 18, could live there. And we are flexible with the age. If you don't like 55, we can start at 62. It makes no difference. I'm seeing in other towns, like I built in Morris Plains, the average age of the senior affordables are well above 62 years old. As I said, Billy will get into it. We'll talk about the mass, the height, and hopefully address the concerns of the residents and the board. With that being said,
Thank you.
I'll let Billy take it from there.
Thank you, Joe. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to talk a little bit first about describing what we've proposed here and how it relates really to the approved Monarch plan for the site. You know, because we've tried to keep many of the elements of the approved plan, but at the same time, there's a couple improvements we think which we should point out both to the committee and to the public. The first is what Joe mentioned with regard to the building massing. Originally, it was approved as a 3-story structure, and now we've come back with a 3- and 1-story structure. So the exposure on Ridgedale Avenue in the 2 wings that are 60-foot wide, so that's 120-foot total. Those are the 3-story wings on the project. This connection here is a 1-story connection. So the actual mass of the building is quite a bit less than what was originally approved for the Monarch product. And what I've developed here is a exhibit. If you would excuse me. Where we superimposed the approved outline in blue on this concept plan. And as you can see, the existing building has a greater exposure, number one, on Ridgedale. It has a greater exposure back to the back of the site, although there are some differences in terms of the configuration of the building. But again, it's it's the same type of building. It's a central courtyard. The courtyard's a little bigger on what we're proposing. In terms of parking, we meet the RSIS standards for this type of use, which is 1.8 parking spaces per unit for a one-bedroom, 2.0 for a two-bedroom, and 2.3 for a three-bedroom. Because these are age-restricted senior units, we have allocated one space per unit for the senior units, and we believe that we meet the RSIS
Can we stop
standards.
you for a second, please? Can you back that up so we can all see it?
I'm sorry.
It's, we're flying blind up here, okay? Go ahead.
Is that better?
There you go, Mike.
I blame you for that. Just to repeat a little bit, the blue that you see here is the approved Monarch plan.
And on the other side, we can't see that.
How's that? The blue is the approved Monarch footprint. And as you can see, it's somewhat similar to what we're proposing this evening, although it's somewhat more enlarged with respect to the number of stories and the exposure to Ridgedale Avenue. We meet the standard with regard to parking, although I must say that RSIS, from our experience, is significantly more than these projects take. Mr. Forgione has built many of these in many towns throughout New Jersey, and we're going to present data to your professionals at some point to substantiate exactly the parking that we're proposing. And that's important because that limits the impervious coverage on the site. It allows us to increase landscaping and buffering to the neighbors. The height of the building is roughly 60 feet. 60 feet is in your code, and that's what was approved on the independent and assisted living project. We are going to be under that with this project. The approved project had a mansard roof. We're coming in with a flat roof. We have a rendering that we're going to show you that is not, it's not specifically this layout, but it does give you a flavor for what the project might look like. And I will get that right now. Now this is I'm going to use actually this one. This is a view of a three-story product that we were, I'm sorry, I did that again. A three-story product that we were investigating. The only difference between this and what we're proposing this evening is we have that one-story connection within the courtyard so that it defines the courtyard and encompasses the courtyard area. As you can see, we still have the landscaping that's proposed along Ridgedale. We have the fencing and ornamental trees and lighting as such. The layout is the same in that there's one entrance and exit to the property, and you come into a drop-off area and then you move either to the right or to the left. We had originally a stormwater management system approved. We've kept that for the most part in that we have a basin over by Sterling Park in that corner of the site. And we have a secondary basin that's proposed in the rear of the site. And just one final thing about the layout. The original plan did not have access to the back of the site, so you could not, from a fire perspective, get around the site. We've taken care of that with this this proposal, and we have full access to the back of the site as well as to the side of the site. And we're here tonight just to get your feedback, some of your ideas, and obviously to hear from the public this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Here's the statement. We are going to open this portion of the meeting to the public. This will be a limited discussion. Please feel free to make a comment or ask your question about this presentation and this property only, 41 Ridgedale Avenue. You will have 1 minute to speak, ask your question, or make a comment. We will enforce this only because we want to make sure everyone can be heard. We want your questions and comments to be very pointed and effective to this property only. Remember, this is not a site plan application. There are no approvals or action that will be taken tonight by the governing body. This is for information only, and this is part of our due diligence to make it very clear, once again, that we want to do the absolute best work we can for the residents of Hanover Township. And I've said it plenty of times, we are Hanover Township residents. There is no dais between us and you, and we want to hear. We want to include this in our due diligence again, and we are always available to speak to you at any time. And this is just the beginning of our process. So I'd like a motion open to the public.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
So if anyone would like to be heard, please step up to the podium, state your name, address, and you have 1 minute.
Hi, my name is Laura Koch. I have a couple questions and comments. One, this property is currently classified as public use according to Hanover Township's zoning map, current from February 2025. So that's my first question and concern. My second one is that the property abuts wetlands. I've been in touch with the New Jersey Environmental Bureau, or Protection Agency, and I am wondering if the builders or the town have filed a letter of interpretation to delineate the extent of the wetlands, and the protection of the wetlands as well as the buffers is particularly concerning given the stormwater basin and the fact that they said there's access to the back of the property, which is certainly where wetlands are located. I also have concerns as a Gristmill Road resident about the height of the structures.
Thank you. And a few of those questions will be answered at the end of the public comment because a few of those are easy to answer.
I don't know what number that is.
Fern Walken, Gristmill Road, Cedar Knolls. So I will piggyback on Laura about the height. Just looking at that picture, we live across the street. From my bedroom window, I used to be able to see the lights from the restaurant, which, weren't that bad. Now it's going to be even higher. We discussed this, and we do not want anything higher than 2 stories. If you want to put parking underneath, that's fine. That would be your 3 stories. So we don't want any tall buildings. We don't want any commerce in the buildings. And we want the roof line, whatever it is, to not be higher than the homes on Gristmill Road, because we are the ones who can see right over the trees and right into, and I'm good.
Thank you very much, Fern.
Good evening. My name is Hetty Sfera. I'm the interim president for Beth Israel Cemetery, which is adjacent to this property. And I am up here now just to receive additional clarification at this preliminary state. Can you clarify how it will run in terms of the numbers again for what is isolated for seniors and additional property? Also, clarification again on the wetlands, where the stormwater basin is, and more details on the parking. I recognize this all can't be addressed tonight, but those are questions that we will have, and most likely additional questions in the future as we move forward with these discussions. Thank you.
We appreciate that. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Julie Stone, and I am the secretary of the board at the Beth Israel Cemetery, and just some additional questions and clarifications about the land use between the property and the cemetery and the land use in the back. And it's a place of quiet and things like that. Okay, thank you. And so really wanting to understand in more detail what's being proposed and be part of a dialogue around the adjacent space so we don't lose the sanctity and what happens around the property. And also it looked like on the map, a lot of just open land in the back. And so is there, is it gated? What will be there from a security perspective and things like that? So to be part of the dialogue and understand more in addition to the questions that Hetty raised. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Good afternoon. My name is Frank Biscayno. I'm at Mountain Avenue, Cedar Knolls. Can somebody please tell me why the original plan was not adopted, the one that was okayed by the town?
Frank, we'll get to that at the end, but Mr. Forgione, that's a question I want answered at the end.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Howard Olson, 93 Griffith Drive, Whippany. Lived here now for 54 years. And as far as I'm concerned, this is the best town in Morris County to be able to live in and to also be able to listen to our Township Committee on certain items that need to get taken care of by the people in this town. I haven't been before the board because I've left it alone for a time being. I've been now for close to a number of years where I have asked if there was any possibility of putting speed bumps on Griffith Drive. I've had a police officer sit there one time and it absolutely did nothing. It is actually a cut through from the traffic light on Troy Hills Road coming up Griffith Drive. Now, I'm retired, if you didn't know that, but I sit and I watch the cars go by. Some of them are going the speed limit, and some of them are doing 50 or 60. And I can tell because you do one of those head turns. And I would just love to be able to understand, and I know that we have a lot of streets, 68 miles worth of blacktop in this town here now, and it's increasing all the time. And I would love to be able to say to the school system also at the same time that we do have speed bumps and we are controlling more or less the speed. I'm not asking people to drop down to 35 miles an hour. I'm more concerned about the children that have been moved into our township. We have people now that have retired, have moved to Florida, have moved any other place, but now we have young children. I have a child across the street. He gets on his scooter, right out into the street. And one of these days, we will have a very, very sad moment. And I know I only have a minute, so...
Howie Olson, let me tell you
I would-
something. You know we love you like a brother.
Yes.
And so far, you're the only one that broke the rules tonight. And we're going to let you get away with it. And when we have public comment on
Yes.
any item,
I'm sorry.
please, no. We won't accept your apology. You can do anything you want in this house. You've been here a very, very long time, and we love you. But we hear you loud and clear.
Yeah.
Hang out, and then take the floor again when we open up to the public, okay?
Yeah. I just want to say thank you, and our safety factor is our children, because we got little kids on our street. And I'd just like to thank the committee for coming out and hearing my woe. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. That's a very hard act to follow, but if anybody would like to walk up to the podium, state your name, your address, and you have 1 minute for any question or concern. About this item.
M. George, 3 First Circle. My comment is, I moved here from Connecticut. We have something that's called Main Street up there. I'm from Litchfield County. What my comment is, that does not fit into a main street in Cedar Knolls. And I'm very concerned that there's no continuity of the main street in Cedar Knolls. And if you start building like this, you will never have a hometown in this area. I'd like to pack you all up, take you to Connecticut, and take you into what hometown looks like, and how you have continuity, and how you have town squares where people get together and talk on street corners and have their cup of coffee. Because since I moved here, that is the biggest thing that I have missed, because I can't walk down the street. And yes, I was on town council, and we worked really hard to get a senior citizen in, and I'm going to take one last second. We built a beautiful senior housing, and it didn't have a flat roof, and it fit the neighborhood. This does not fit our town. Go take a look at our beautiful Catholic church. This doesn't fit. Let's build a hometown, everybody. Get together with this. I just don't understand why you don't want one. So that's all I have to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ioannis Sargario, 2 Lexington Court, Whippany, New Jersey. In the beginning of this presentation, it was stated that one of the partners in this project, I guess, bankrupt his half of the actual project in itself. To me, that looks like an indication that it's not a flyer, or at least to them. And my question is also, if you have 79 independent living communities in Morris County and 70 senior living communities in Morris County, what makes you think this is going to fly?
Thank you, sir.
Dean Atkinson, Mountain Avenue, Cedar Knolls. My question is parking. He said there was 1 parking space per unit. What about for visitors or the couple that does have 2 cars? Like, there's no extra spaces at all? And also, looking at the drawing, the driveway comes in straight into a median by the circle. So if a moving truck was to come in there, like, how easy would it be to get around? So, like, was that thought of at all? I thought I had something else. No, you already answered the other one. So pretty much that's it. And also with the lights that Fran brought up, just if the lighting, I don't know if there's like lights that are not so bright or can be aimed down, just because there is residents I know on two sides. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Terry Baird, Whippany section of Hanover. I do have a question in reference to when we have development being projected like this in town, and we have a lot of other developments that have been projected in town that have not yet been built and been promised, with also 60 affordable housing units. Will this be contingent upon the others being built prior to this one? Or, you know, do we just let the other obligations go to the wayside? Thank you.
Fred will be able to answer that tonight. Anyone else?
Paul Boyages, 20 Gristmill Road. There seems to be some concern over the height, and if it was limited to 2 stories, would that be a deal breaker for the builder?
Thank you. I also want to make it very clear that residents in your neighborhood have discussed the height with me, and I've made the request and your recommendation very clear, and that's going to be a very serious discussion. Yes?
Ezra Sonar, 19 Gristmill Road.
Sorry, what was your first name?
Ezra.
Thank you.
So I will reiterate the comments about the height and the safety aspect of it. I mean, I moved to Hanover Township, and I think a lot of the reasons why we moved here will be negatively impacted by having this extra infrastructure here. In the presentation, there was mention about the extra tax revenue, which I could clearly see the benefit of that. But has there been any due diligence in the property values that will drop as a result of having this big piece of building? I wouldn't have bought my house if I had known this piece of building would be right behind it.
Thank you. And if you notice, Krista's writing very, very fast. So this is all going into the record, and it's being recorded.
Hi, Debbie Ellerat, Manger Road in Cedar Knolls. I have some concerns about the limit of 1 bedroom for the senior units, because if you are in a situation, which our family has been in recently, where you need to have a caregiver in the home, 1 bedroom's not going to cut it. So 2 bedrooms really needs to be considered for the senior portion of that. And also the parking is an issue as well with the seniors. 1 may not cut it if you still have 2 people who are driving in the home. Okay, and what are the proposed sale points for the senior housing? Because we don't want to sell our full-time big houses for $600,000 or $700,000 and then have to buy something for $800,000. It's just not sustainable.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Hi, Victoria Benson, 125 Malapartis. We are already flooded out of Malapartis because of all the construction that has gone on behind our homes. What is the proposed plan to stop flooding us out even more? You're going to be putting in parking lots and large foundations. There's nowhere for the water to go. That means it's going to pour back into our neighborhood, and we've been discussing this for over 2 years in my neighborhood with you guys, and you've got no plan yet either. Colliers has not come up with anything. I'm already in a reservoir.
Okay,
We've been there since 1960. We did not have water coming through our property like this. You're going to inundate the entire neighborhood with a structure this big and paving over the entire area. What's the plan?
Well, right now, we want your comments and questions, but the only thing I'll respond to immediately is Colliers did put together a comprehensive, very, very detailed plan, and if you didn't see it, I'm surprised, because I thought our BA sent it out to your neighborhood.
It was
and
for the
specifically
roadway,
you.
and it wasn't sent out really to the neighborhood. It was sent out to my email. It was basically just discussing the roadway, not our properties that are being flooded out.
We'll discuss that after this portion. but we've been to your house and I'm available to speak to you about that, but we'll speak after this portion, because this has to be specifically a 1-minute question or comment to Mr. Forgione, and I realize flooding, more than just about anybody, is an issue and is going to be an issue, and we are going to talk about that at length.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Paul Sesko, Whippany. My question is, well, you're a homeowner and you have a certain size footprint that you're allowed, to build on your property. Is there, I don't know anything about this, so I'm asking, is there a footprint for the town? Like, how much can you grow? Because you look at the big cities, they got the smog there, they have flooding, overcrowding, traffic. I mean, at what point do we say, you know what, maybe we should build in another area or part of the state where there's a lot more room? That's it.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Margaret Carrison. I live at 89 Summit, but I lived for 40-plus years on Gristmill Road, and my daughter Laura now owns the house. But I just want to say, this is really an ugly design. And I just want to say, I was here when we fought to have Bart's. It was Bart's Pizzeria. I don't remember all the details, but we had hired a lawyer for that, for what is now H2O, or now it's torn down. And we were outraged at that time that a restaurant would come into, because before that it wasn't zoned for even a restaurant. So now, to see this, and the beautiful houses on Gristmill Road, and even the lovely apartments that are in this picture, to see that this is really a monstrosity. And I feel bad that people, and the lady that spoke about, from Connecticut, I mean, why do you want something like that in our town?
Thank you.
It was a great flower shop, though, wasn't it?
Anyone else?
Hi, my name is Brielle Miller. I live at 9 Juniper Drive, just behind these guys. I wasn't planning on speaking tonight, but monstrosity is a perfect word for what's happening here. I'm concerned about the lighting, how far that lighting is going to protrude into my gristmill neighbor's yard. Water. Water, water, water. I cannot say it enough. We have so much water in our backyard when it rains. My children can't play in my backyard for a week. Bayer, we moved our river. We were supposed to have some fancy, finally little downtown area. Nothing came of that. Mr. Forgione, yes? We're all talking too. It'd be nice if your back weren't to us. I understand that. I'm taking notes too. I understand that you're here to make money, but you could make money in a completely different way. We could have a bagel shop, a restaurant, a brewery, an ice cream shop, a mom and pop coffee shop. Give us a downtown. I get you're going to put something there regardless. Our hands are tied. We're hearing that a lot around here. But 3 stories, absolutely unacceptable.
Anyone else?
Motion to close. No, hold the motion.
1 minute, yes.
Has anybody made plans for the...
Need somebody to speak in the microphone, please?
The infrastructure in place for, multi-dwellings? Do we have plumbing, electricity? My power's going out weekly. Is any of that in place? Because if you add that many bathrooms, You need to have facilities to be able to handle all those bathrooms, and all that water flow, and all that sewage coming from there, and all that energy draw. If you put in a small business, how many bathrooms are you putting in? 1, 2?
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none?
Motion to close.
Second?
Mayor, how would you like me to?
Okay, we're going to take a couple. Joe to answer just a few questions, but I want to start with Fred, with the 60 affordable units that's come up a couple times. But then, Joe, I want you to explain the category of public use for that property now.
Okay.
But Fred, if you could, and where we are with those 60 affordable units, but let's hold on a second for this microphone problem.
I think it might be the camera button.
Okay, Fred, if you could just take 2 or 3 minutes and explain the 60 units.
Right, I'll just try to limit it, Mayor, as you said, to this property, but the question came up about the 60 units. This developer is not delinquent in their affordable housing obligation to the township. There is an obligation to have 60 senior affordable units built, and that is to be built in conjunction with the Park Avenue project, which is now underway. And that project requires 60 affordable senior units. There will not be a certificate of occupancy issued for the Park Avenue project, this is by way of agreement, until first the 60 affordable units are built on that site. When the 60 affordable units are built on that site, the actual set-aside, which is usually a requirement of 15%, it'll be 18%, it'll be satisfied. There's another 60 affordable units. That was for the last round and the third round plan. Now we're in the fourth round. And the fourth round is from this July for the next 10 years. As part of the last round, the governing body insisted that there'd be another 60 affordable units without any market units promised and delivered over the fourth round, and which is a 10-year period. And the cost would be by the developer. It would be, up to $2 million could be spent on the property to be acquired. And so the first $1 million would be by the developer. The township's Affordable Housing Trust Fund, which is not taxpayer money, that was from developers' contributions, would be utilized if need be to acquire the land. The construction, and it would be about a $10 million project, and the management of those 60 additional units would be the responsibility of the developer. And I'm not saying this on behalf of the developer, I'm saying it on behalf of the township. That in itself, our own financial analyst said, was a tremendous deal for the township, because it does not come with any other strings attached or any other market units. It was 60 on top of it that the governing body insisted on, a $12 million project. But it's not delinquent, it's timely so long as it's built over the next 10 years. It's in this fourth round affordable housing plan that the township put together. It has to be built. The governing body has been looking at locations to find the right place to build those 60 senior units. So I think the confusion might be there's 60 affordable senior units that have to be built up at Park Avenue. They're being built. The other 60 is on its own. It's over the requirement. It was something that the governing body entered into an agreement through the court that would be built in the fourth round, separate and apart. And I hope that clarifies it, Mayor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, out of respect for everybody that came out, I'm going to ask Mr. Forgione to take a few minutes and hit a few of those questions that you can. And then from there, I think we've demonstrated, and I've demonstrated, I'm available to talk to anybody almost any time. This is step one of a work in progress. But two things I'd like addressed right away is I'd like to understand public use, the current zone, because I've been asked and I don't have a solid answer. And then I'd like you to begin with building height, because I spoke to a lot of people, and building height is going to be a deal breaker. So I'd like you to start with those two, Mr. Forgione, if you would.
That was number three. I wrote down the questions as they came.
You may want to speak into the microphone, Mr. Forgione. Maybe you want to go to the podium to be heard if you want, or...
What number is the mic?
Okay, can you hear me? Okay. So the first question was asked that the current zone is in public use. The PU, Public Use District, allows for a number of uses, including independent living, which was approved. The PU zone was amended to allow for the assisted living project. So with that comes a number of bulk standards that we complied with. So that was number one. So if you look in the PU zone, there's a number of uses that are allowed within that. Kind of sounds like public use, like it should be a park, but there's uses that are allowed in it. The second question was wetlands. Under the original approval, we had a letter of wetlands. We had a wetlands expert confirm that there are where the wetlands limits are. That is part of your checklist that's required to be deemed complete for a site plan. So that was already completed when the site plan was approved for assisted living. The third question, I have to correct Billy. The PU zone allows for a 60-foot height building. The building which was approved was 40 feet. We're proposing a height beneath less than 40 feet.
Less than 40?
Yes, less than 40. So the zone allows 60. What was approved for the assisted living was 40. We're proposing under 40 feet in the three-story. Okay? The next thing was the lights generated from the parking. Blaze is very difficult. As you know, there's a town ordinance that allows for parking, for the lighting, and it's with backplates that allows that the light shine down, and so that avoid overflow onto adjacent properties or even the roadway. When you talk about the roof line, someone mentioned the roof line should be similar to Chris Mill Road. So we're trying to avoid a taller building. Instead of a hip or a gable, we're putting a flat roof with so we're proposing a flat roof rather than a gable or typical roof that you find on a house. So I think that if you go out to measure the height of a home that's on Chris Mill to the peak of the roof, I will suspect that you will have a more than 40-foot height. Okay. The next thing was the cemetery. They've contacted me a number of times. They've asked for me to keep them updated on what we're doing with our plans. Their interest is in acquiring the property. I've discussed it with them that the property is not for sale. And the breakdown, a question was breakdown into senior affordables. There would be all one bedroom and it would be 20%. There also was a question of what is being proposed between the cemetery and our project. We're proposing a fence.
Joe, can you stop for a second?
Yes.
Excuse me. Excuse me, miss.
I don't think she hears you.
Excuse me, can you just give him a minute? He's answering the questions.
This is the one we can't have, everyone.
But he's in the middle of answering the questions. Can you give him the moment, please? Thank you.
There will be a fence. There's a fence there now. I'm sure when we go through site plan, Blaze is going to request more of a different type of fence, a more decorative fence, and we're proposed to have a buffer along the cemetery. There was a question about the original plan, was it adopted? The original plan was approved. All the conditions of the resolution were met. Site plans were signed by the planning board. So the word adopted, I don't know if it's adopted, but it was approved and all of the conditions of the resolutions were addressed and the site plan was signed. We addressed planning engineering, and so on, and all of the outside agency. Someone said partner is gone out of business. Yes, I am not an assisted living developer. I am a multifamily developer. I brought in a partner that was going to manage the assisted living. He had the ability to obtain financing. It's a completely different component of the business, and yes, he's no longer in business. And quite frankly, the assisted living business in general is, we don't see it coming back for a very, very long time. So in speaking with the funds, BlackRock, Prudential, they are not taking on the construction risk associated with assisted living projects. They're a lot more expensive than a multifamily rental project. Someone asked, why is this going to work? We've been building multifamily for rent projects since 1993. We own and manage north of 1,800 units with a number of projects under construction. We just completed 210 units in Berkeley Heights as part of the former King Shopping Plaza. We would not be putting out substantial financing if we didn't think it was going to work. It's interesting to say that I also was the developer and built and owned the Sterling Park project for a number of years, which was ultimately sold to a fund. Someone mentioned parking, one parking space per unit for affordable is not enough. As part of the Sterling Park project, I built 50 age-restricted, thanks to the Mayor Francioli and then great Mayor Ianna Cohn, that asked us to build 50 affordable senior units. When you go and you look at the parking lot, it's always empty. We've comped that as part of 190 Park Avenue when we worked with Blaze on the parking requirement there. So there's 23 parking spaces that are used out of 50 units at Sterling Park. 3 are for management and leasing, and they have people coming in and out for yoga and the like. So the parking demand for an age-restricted senior affordable unit is much less than 1, but we're proposing to have 1 on site. Traffic circulation, this type of drop-off is used quite often in these types of buildings. When you come into a courtyard, we believe that we have the traffic circulation. As a matter of fact, the drop-off that we're proposing is very similar than the one that was already approved and reviewed by your police and fire. The mention of 60 senior units, 190s under construction. It's 60 one-bedroom affordable units. Thank you, Fred, for bringing us up to speed on that. I think it's important to say that under the third round plan to which 190 was developed on, and that's the third round plan for affordable housing, you're required to put 15% of your units to be affordable. Sterling 190 Park Avenue is 29%. So it's 14% more affordable than which was required under the third round plan. I think that's important to know, and that is part of the town pushing hard. We'll talk the other 60. A 2-story, it is a deal breaker. Next door, I built Sterling Park. The height of those buildings will be very similar to what we're proposing here. Someone mentioned a negative impact, but was kind enough to mention that this property would generate 9 times more taxes than was already is already being generated. And the question was, how would it impact the adjacent parcels? Well, I built Sterling Park, which is 317 units. I don't think that impacted anyone's values in the area. That has been an absolute an incredible rateable for this municipality. That generates over $1.2 million a year in taxes. Someone mentioned that the senior units will not be affordable because they're not going to be able to be purchased. The senior units are being proposed to be rented. There's a difference of the median income in Morris County. Chuck, don't get mad at me if I'm wrong, but I think that they start at $385 a month for low to $680 for low up to $800 a month for moderate income housing. That is a brand-new one-bedroom unit for a senior. So they are extremely affordable. Someone mentioned drainage. So our property is lower than Ridgedale Avenue. We're taking on the drainage that's coming off of Ridgedale Avenue. Billy had mentioned that the project is maintaining the already approved drainage study that was reviewed by Jerry Macera and your consultant, Colliers. And so it was approved, and it addresses all the drainage comments that you can have. The rear of the property, about 30 feet off of our property, is wetlands, but the two basins, which were already approved with a larger building, more FAR, are being maintained. We're trying to maintain those buildings, the exact location and design of those basins. Someone mentioned that they live on Summit Drive and their backyard's wet. I started my life on North Bel Air, and my backyard was always wet because of the open space, and we took all the drainage coming from Trailwood down to my backyard on North Bel Air. So I understand that the backyards are wet, and agree that because of the woods, we don't get any sunlight, and they remain wet for a longer period of time. With regards to infrastructure, sewer, water, electric, and gas, we already received a water extension approval from Southeast Morris County MUA, which provides the water for a larger project. And we also received a treatment works approval approved by the Hanover Sewerage Authority and the NJDEP, which had far greater gallonage requirement for assisted living than what we are proposing. So so I forgot who mentioned infrastructure, and do we have the infrastructure to support this project? What we're proposing has less water and sewer usage. I think those are the only questions I wrote down. I tried to write down everyone that was asked, but...
Joe, I think this is a good time to say thank you very much for coming out. I'd like to thank all our residents for being part of this exercise. There's a few things that I'm going to get back to with the neighboring area. I do have a list, a punch list of about 11 items, and I'm going to want to talk to your team in detail about the flooding, because as you know, Hanover Township is the chief agency in a 7-municipality shared service, Whippany-Passaic Flood Remediation Task Force. We're looking at many, many areas, and maybe this could be an opportunity to make an existing problem better, and I'd like to explore that with Colliers, because Colliers is at the top of the ticket with our flooding. But I'm going to say, without any further comment from us, that thank you for coming out. Thank you to all our residents for coming out. And let me make it clear, when you leave today, this isn't a one and done. We're here. We represent you. I want to talk to anybody that wants to talk to me. I have a list. I shared a lot of our conversations with the governing body, but I will take the list that Krista wrote today. We will narrow it down to about 10 or 12. I'll compile that with the list that I have from the neighborhood, and we will start to really dig into our due diligence. So thank you, everybody, for coming out, and hopefully we see you very soon, and hopefully we can get to a very good place. Everybody can hang out for the rest of the meeting if they want to.
It's very exciting.
Might not be as exciting.
It's very exciting. If you'd like to stay, we're going to start our regular meeting. I'm just going to start.
Go for it.
Standing. As soon as you sit down.
Let's take 2 minutes.
What?
2-minute recess.
Okay, guys, let's take a 2-minute recess.
Okay.
What's that?
Frank, can I tell you something real quick?
Besides that, yeah, but it came off nice. Pretty good, right?
Are we good? Okay, you guys ready? Okay, you guys ready? Okay, we're going to begin our meeting. Ron, Blaze.
Okay, we will not start until Blaze is ready to go. Blaze, we're waiting on you. We're not starting until you're ready. We're going to go on strike, Blaze. Okay, Krista, take it
Okay,
away.
good evening again, everyone. I have a late item that is going to be placed on the agenda. It is a letter of communications from Peter DeNegris resigning from the Planning Board and the Township Spec Application Committee effective immediately due to personal matters. May I have a motion to accept his resignation?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next on the agenda, we have the approval of the meeting minutes of July 10th. May I please have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
So approved. Next order of business is the public hearing and adoption of ordinances of the Township Committee. I'd like to state for the record that the Township Committee has decided to withdraw Ordinance 20-2025 from the record. May I please have a motion to withdraw Ordinance 20-2025?
So moved.
Second.
On roll call, Committeeman Cahill.
Aye.
Committeeman Faramaska.
Aye.
Committeeman Francioli.
Aye.
Committeeman Mahalko.
Yes.
Mayor Gallagher.
Aye.
So withdrawn. Next is the public hearing of ordinance 21-2025 and 22-2025. Proof of publication that both ordinances and their notices of introduction appeared in full in the July 16th issue of the Daily Record in accordance with law. At this time, may I please have a motion to convene the public hearing on ordinance 21-2025 and 22-2025?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Is there anyone in chambers wishing to be heard concerning either ordinance 21 or 22? If so, please state your name and address for the record and which ordinance you would like to speak about.
Motion to close.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Now on adoption, may I please have a motion to adopt ordinance number 21-2025 and 22-2025?
So moved.
Second.
On roll call, Committeeman Cahill.
Aye.
Committeeman Farah.
Aye.
Committeeman Francioli.
Aye.
Committeeman Mahalko.
Yes.
Mayor Gallagher.
Aye.
So adopted. Next, I'd like to introduce an ordinance this evening and like to read the title into the record. It will be ordinance number 23-2025. An ordinance of the Township of Hanover, Morris County, New Jersey, amending Chapter 166 of the Township Code entitled Land Use and Development in order to create a new R-25 end zone district and regulations and to change the classification for various properties with frontage on Malpartis Road, New Jersey Route 10, and Ukraine Road from R25 zone district to a new R-25 end zone district. I'd like to state for the record that this ordinance and its respective notice of introduction will be published in full in the Daily Record in accordance with law. The public hearing will be scheduled for September 11, 2025 at 8 p.m., and if any member of the public would like to be heard regarding this ordinance, they will be given the opportunity to do so that evening. May I please have a motion to introduce ordinance 23-2025?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
On roll call, Committeeman Cahill.
Yes.
Committeeman Farah. Committeeman Francioli.
Aye.
Committeeman Mahalko.
Yes.
Mayor Gallagher.
Aye.
So introduced. The next order of business is the approval of resolutions as a consent agenda. Resolution numbers 166-2025 through 181-2025. Does any member of the governing body have any questions regarding any of these resolutions?
So moved.
May I have a motion? Oh, sorry, Ron. May I have a second?
Second?
Okay, I'd like to approve the resolutions as a consent agenda. Thank you. Next on the agenda is our raffle applications. We have RL 3484, that's Whippany Park High School, 50/50. RL 3485, Whippany Park High School on premise 50/50, and a 3486 OLM Church for a 50/50 raffle application as well for a 50/50. May I have a motion to approve the raffle applications?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
And lastly, we have to pay our bills in the amount of $6,955,448.71. May I have, John, a motion to pay our bills,
So
please?
moved. Pay the bills, please.
Thank you. May I have a second? Thank you. I will let Silvio know to pay the bills. All in favor?
Aye.
Mayor, that clears my portion of the agenda, and I thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Krista, great job. And great job in the first portion of the meeting, and thank you for all your preparation with us.
No worries.
Good
Thank
work.
you.
Okay, I'd like to, motion to open to the public?
Motion.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
I'd like to just state real quick, I'm sorry, for the open to the public, we're going to give each member 4 minutes to speak, and there will be no time yielding time to others, just to make a note.
If anyone would like to address the governing body, please step up to the podium, state your name, address, and you have 4 minutes.
Fern Walken. I can yell.
No, we're...
Is it? Maybe it is. Oh, there it is. Okay.
There we go.
I gotta speak closer. Okay, so I'm just back to the Ridgedale Avenue thing. I just want to read to you because Mr. Forgione said that the previous building permits were allowed under the public use district, and I'm just going to read to you what Hanover Township defines as the public use district. The zoning district specifically designates areas for various public or quasi-public uses such as county and township buildings, schools, parks and open space, major utility operations, certain quasi-public, institutional, and similar uses. That's it. So I don't know how that got approved under public use for the senior assisted living facility, but certainly housing doesn't qualify under this. So unless you're planning on changing the public use district, I am asking how that happened previously, and how that can happen now. And the other question I have, which Mr. Forgione didn't address, was whether these units are rental units or for sale units. You're shaking your head, sorry?
Rental.
Rental, okay. Okay, so that's important in my view, because people generally who rent, and I have nothing against renters, my son is a renter, is that they don't have as much buy-in into the community. So we have 125 units, one bedroom. Are they all one-bedroom units? No, okay, just the senior living, which I agree with whoever said, I don't know if it was you, that people, seniors often need assistance, and they need a second bedroom. So, you know, I don't see that as being a really good use of space. And the other comment I just have, which we can discuss further in the future, is why can't we have, not that I'm looking for more units, I'm looking for fewer units, but why can't more of them be affordable housing? Thank you.
Thank you, Fern. Anyone else want to address the governing body?
Hi. Revisiting the development plans for
State your name and address again.
Laura Koch, Gristmill Road. Revisiting the development plans, or the proposal that we heard tonight for the Ridgedale Ave property. Mr. Forgione said that he received the letter of interpretation from the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection. However, I want to make the council and the public aware that I spoke with Cynthia Rivera from the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection, and she is the one who gives permits to this area, to Hanover Township, and she said that no one from the site, from the agency, has been to the site. So as far as that letter of interpretation and the town council knowing what the wetlands are, how they're delineated, the transition areas, et cetera, I think it's really important that the letter be presented, shown to the public, shown to the council, and that we take this seriously, especially with all of the water concerns and environmental concerns that we all know about. Secondly, Mr. Forgione kept speaking about the site plan approval for the assisted living facility. However, the assisted living facility is not happening. So, you know, I don't think that there is currently any site plan approval, because this is all just a proposal that we're first hearing about. So I don't think he can proceed as though he has approval for all of these things, the water, the lighting, the parking. And in fact, Mr. Forgione, it has come to my attention recently that with St. Christopher's Parish in a different area, he's pulled a bait and switch maneuver where he proposed one thing, got the council behind him, and, you know, was going to go in one direction, and then canceled that plan, very similar to what's happening here, and then launched a whole other plan that St. Christopher is trying to take legal action on, because they're very upset with what's happening. So I want the town council, I'm sure you're very astute and aware of such things, but I feel that I just have to have my voice heard, that I don't want anyone bamboozled with a bait and switch and somebody saying this is all approved already. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good evening. Terry Baird, in the Whippany section of Hanover Township. I have two questions. One is in reference to what Resolution 181 is about with the $1.7 million bond note. And the other question is, could we please have an update on the air conditioning debacle with the police department, the recreation department, the big units outside, how much is it costing us, and what plans to be done about the AC units, because are they going to have heat? If they don't have AC, then are they going to have heat in the wintertime?
Joe.
So I have those two questions.
Hold on, Joe, I want to give you a proper introduction. You've been very quiet all night, and now it's your turn, Joe. So take the floor.
Does he have 4 minutes?
Joe, you have 4 minutes. Joe set the timer on me, one of my first meetings, by the way, when I was talking.
Well deserved.
So, Harry, the bond
Put your mic on.
bond ordinance for $1,738,000 is for the sale of bond anticipation notes for the splash pad and also for the renovation of the Tuttle House. That will take place in mid-September.
Okay.
Okay?
All right. If it had said splash pad, I wouldn't have asked, then I would know.
On the second item, dealing with the air conditioning system in the police department, that system was installed when police headquarters was built in 2002. That unit runs 24/7. It's outlived its useful purpose. We have taken steps to try to recondition the condenser and the compressors at a tremendous cost of over $100,000 in order to get us through the summer. There's continuous failures because the system is so old. What we are trying to do is to work with Jersey Central Power and Light to do what they call a direct install program, where we will get a brand new unit, not only for the police department, but for the whole municipal building and the community center. And then, with the approval of the BPU, we can pay off the cost over a period of time. But it does take time. I'm very frustrated about it because it's taken so long, and we have continuous malfunctions, even though we are continuing to make strides to repair it.
And we have, maintenance contracts, but they're not, this is all money over and above maintenance contracts, so we're talking, we're just $100,000 in the hole this summer, or are we more than that?
No, well, it's over $100,000 for sure. Every year we go out to bid for maintenance and repair of all the air conditioning systems in all the municipal buildings. We just awarded a new contract for a new company known as PowerSave. The company that's working on the police headquarters air conditioning system is a company that we've worked with in the past that was under contract with the township for probably 15 or 20 years, who knows the systems throughout the municipal buildings, and they are doing the best they can. But when you're working with an old system, it's very hard to repair something that's really outlived its useful purpose.
What would be the projected replacement timeline?
Timeline, we're trying to get on board right now with this direct install program, so that by the time we come to next year, by the summer, we have a new system in the municipal building, in the community center, and police headquarters.
And will that also include heat? I mean, is that part of, because I know the heat is a problem too, so.
We've just replaced 4 units, heating units, in the community center at a cost of $64,000. So the community center is fine. So far, so good, as far as I know, with the heating for the municipal building and for police headquarters, but that's going to be a part of the problem for this direct install as well.
Okay.
Terry, I just want to make one comment, and Joe, you did a great job, and you had all night to rest up for that answer too, by the way. I want to say, when I was on the Board of Ed with Brian Cahill, we had similar problems in the school system.
Yep.
And a few companies came in with these big ideas where if we replaced all the equipment, worked on the windows, worked on the lighting, over a period of time, the savings would pay for all the new equipment. And I remember saying to Brian, I don't believe this. Now granted, I'm from Hudson County, I don't believe very much until I see it. But guess what, it worked. Programs like that started to go away because of some of the green initiatives. But also Colliers is working with us to put us in the right direction of some of these programs, and Joe has been working very, very hard. So we are gonna have to pull the trigger on something, because some of this equipment is so old, we can't even get the parts. So Joe is spearheading this initiative, and we all check with Joe all the time. There are programs, and we have an incredible company working hand in hand with Joe to get one of these programs and take advantage of one of these programs.
I was thinking that it was similar to what you guys had done over at the school, so hopefully that'll come to
Brian
fruition.
championed that, to be honest with you, so.
Because it's a lot of money to just throw away, you know, when it could be going towards the updating part of it, so, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none? John, you look very serious. Are you good?
I'm good.
Seeing none, hearing none? Motion to close? So moved. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Guys, we still have a lot more work to do. I'm prepared to forego any closing comment from me.
I'll second the motion.
And Mike, you have one comment?
Hanover Township Day.
Be there. Mike Mahalko has a very big announcement, everybody. Deputy Mayor?
I do have one mention. There was a lady that stood up and asked us a question, and it was, why do we want this development to happen? From my opinion, I do not want it to happen. And we've said time and time again that our hands are tied. Our hands are tied. We can say no to this, but we will get worse. So that's why we're even entertaining it. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Please, November has consequences. Who you vote for has consequences. These things come down from the state. This is one of the items. This is being forced on us by the state. Both parties have done it, don't get me wrong. This is, you know, from the past, this has come from both parties. But, you know, again, this is being forced on us. We do not want this. This is not what we picked. So, just my point.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mike Mahalko. Motion to adjourn? And we're going to continue our legal session in the back, in conference room A. Good job. Fred? Mayor?